de la Providence, who later became his wife. This is all just, I just wanted to show you so you can see what I'm talking about, right? That even his so-called wife, Brigitte, right, is also a Jesuit, Vatican trained. These are the people running your world. That's just what I wanted to bring to your attention. So before we go any further, all right. So let's go dive deeper into Emmanuel Macron, right? So let's get into Emmanuel Macron, who happens to be the president-elect of France as of today. All right, let's get straight into this transvestigation and show you that Emmanuel Macron is not the sex that he actually says he is. Now, one thing that bring how I got into like looking at Emmanuel Macron was Emmanuel Macron actually is married to a lady called Brigitte. Now, Brigitte is 25 years older than Macron. And what I did notice, first of all, was that they're almost of the same height. And Emmanuel Macron's head looked almost the same size, if not very slightly smaller than his wife. So that made me look and say, what sort of man's, because I know that, like I've always said on our channel, if you're trying to compare skulls, you have to make sure that the skulls of the people you compare are skulls of the same ethnicity, same height, and you also have to take into account the weight. You can't compare skulls of different ethnicity because, as I've said earlier on my videos, is that the skulls of black people are much denser and heavier, all right, than the skulls of other people from different ethnicities. So that's why you can mix and match the skulls, except they are of the same ethnicity, all right, when you're comparing skulls. So you compare skulls of the same ethnicity, the same height, and you also have to take account of the weight. Now, so what I did notice was that Emmanuel Macron had the same head. His head was the same with that of his wife. I'll show his wife later, but we're gonna start transvestigation here. Now, what I want you to notice is how Emmanuel Macron crosses his legs here. All right, see that? Now, people don't know that females cross their legs at their thighs, and males cross their legs at their calves. So if a man crosses his leg, he's going to cross one calf to the other leg, and he's going to cover up his knee pads, all right? When a female crosses a leg, it's going to show more thigh. Now, why is that? So I'm going to break it down in very simple terms so you can understand why the crossing of the leg happens that way, all right? Now, the reason why that happens is because with a female has a wide pubic arch, which is 120 degrees or more, all right? The wide pubic arch is wide so that a woman can give birth, so a child can come out of the womb. Let me see if I can pull a picture up from a document so you can actually see that better. So here is the document, all right? I just pulled up. So as you can see, this wide pubic arch here, right, is 120 degrees, right? So that's why a baby's head can come out of the womb, as you can see from this picture, from this particular picture right here, 120 degrees wide. With men, this pubic arch is 90 degrees, so a baby would not be able to come out of that womb. So this is how a baby comes out of the womb. This wide pubic arch enables a woman to be able to spread her legs and have sex in laying down, and men can do that. Does it make sense? So now let's go back to what I was trying to show you from that particular picture I had. So this wide pubic arch here, all right, because the pubic arch is wide, okay? So because the pubic arch is wide, it pulls the pelvis further apart. So because the pelvis is further apart, the legs of a female are further apart. So because of that further apart, remember I talked about the Q angle, right? The Q angle is more acute. That means the angle from the knee to the hip is much more acute than that of a male. So because of this Q angle, this acute Q angle, it makes a female to be able to cross her legs more, right? Does it understand? So the thigh here can cross over the thigh here because of this wide Q angle. All right? Does it make sense? Because of this acute Q angle and wide pubic arch. So it's more like the cross is much more acute when a lady crossing her legs because of the Q angle and her wide pubic arch. Males have very narrow, right, pubic arches, so they can't cross their leg much as a female should. So when a man crosses his leg because of his less acute Q angle, he's going to cross it more at the knee. So I'm going to show you some more pictures to make you see what I'm saying. So let's pull a picture of, this is Emmanuel Macron, and I want you to take note of how he crosses his legs, right? And let me pull up another picture of a woman crossing her legs. Now, I want you to see the similarity. See what's happening here? You see there's more kneecap revealing. See that? There is more kneecap on this female. See how the thighs cross? Because the pubic arch pulls the legs further apart, so it crosses more. The legs cross more. And as you can see, that's why Emmanuel Macron's thigh are showing. All right? Because his pubic arch is wider, so he crosses his leg more, just in the same like this female. Now I'm going to pull another picture of a man that Emmanuel Macron went to see. I don't know who he is, but it's still from the same photograph. And I want you to take notice of this. See, this is a man crossing his legs. Let me try to pull these pictures a little bit more so you can see more. All right. Now here is a man crossing his legs. As you can see, you don't see the kneecap of the man. Why? Because men cross their legs at their calves. So the man's calf, right? The calf is the leg, is the muscle just below the knee. All right. The man's calves would touch his other leg, right, at the knee. This is how a man crosses his leg, and you see less thigh, all right? When a female crosses her legs like Emmanuel Macron or here, right, you see more thigh. So you can see this picture. You can see that this picture is much more closer in resemblance to this one than this one, because this female is crossing her legs at her thighs. See how the thighs here cross and the kneecap is showing? And the same thing that's happening here with Emmanuel Macron. See, his kneecap is showing. You see more thigh. And with this man, you see less thigh. You don't see kneecap here, but his legs cross over that kneecap, because this is male, this is female, right? See the leg comparisons right there? All right. So let's move forward with another picture. All right. So you will see more of this. Let's go further. We already showed you that. That's still Emmanuel Macron. And I want you to take a look at the small hands. I already showed you in the first picture when we started talking about it on the Yahoo page. But I just want you to take a good look at that. Small hands is always the indication that it's a female. Because if you cut his hands right here at his wrist and pull it over his face, it's going to feel 3/4 of his face. That's what usually happens with males and females. The hands are comparable to the face. If you cut your hands, if you're a man, and you pull it inside your face, it's going to fill up your whole entire face and leave little or nothing less. If you're a female and you pull that, you'll align your hands from your chin, all right? From your chin to your wrist. You will see that it fills 3/4 of your face and leave some space out. That's always the way it is. Hands in relation to the face based on male and female. All right. Let's go further. Some other pictures. And here's Emmanuel Macron with Brigitte. Now remember the thing I told you about the skull comparisons. You can see right here, all right, that this female is wearing heels, which means that she's very, very short. And this guy over here, all right, is wearing what? Flats. So here's a short lady, all right, and here's a tall one. But you can see the skull comparisons right here. Let's say they're both, she's slightly leaner than him. Let's just say that. But on the skull comparison level right here, if he was male, his head should be far more bigger than that of his wife, which is 25 years older than him. I have nothing against females who are older than men. It's just society has made it in such a way that females actually think that the man or their spouse should be older than them. It's never the case. It's just an age. As long as you're an adult, it doesn't really matter. All right. I'm just saying that just for the fact that I'm trying to make comparisons of the skulls right here. So if he was male, all right, his head should be considerably larger than that of his wife. But as you can see, even the neck is so small because that's the neck of the female. Take a look at the shoulders too. It's way too short. Take a look at the hands. If I draw a line from Emmanuel Crutch's hands right here, right, from his crutch down to the arms of his hands, you will see that line ends inside the palms of his hands. Always clear indication that you're looking at a female. Now, if it's your first time on the channel, I'm going to show you what I mean exactly. Let me just pull up one of our documents right here so you can see what I'm talking about. And here is it, all right? Where is it? Okay, here is the picture. Now, here is a female right here. If I draw a line from this female's crotch down into the palms of her hands, down to her arms, that line goes inside the palms of her wrist. Clear indication of a female. If I do that for this other female right here too, I draw a line from her crotch down to her arms. It ends inside the palms of her wrist. Clear indication that she's female. And so the same thing with Emmanuel Macron here, all right? Draw that line from this crutch. Go right, go left. It will end inside the palms of his wrist. The arms are too short for it to be a man. A man has longer arms in relation to the body. And as you can see, he still has a cute angle going on here, but we'll show you more of that as we go along, okay? Let's go to the next picture. And here's Emmanuel Macron with the former president, the outgoing president of France. And what I wanted to bring to your attention is the jawline. Now, a lot of people, you might see females with a jawline that looks like it's square. That's because you're looking at it from, let's say, the frontal view, all right? If you look at it from the side view, a female's jawline will always start sloping directly from her ears. It won't drop down straight. So the jawline is going to be shaped like a C, while a man's own is always going to be shaped like an L. As you can see here, Emmanuel Macron's jawline, right, slopes way too suddenly from his ears. It's not going down straight as it should be for a man. Let me show you from a document so you'll see that a little bit more clearly. Let me go up the document right to the start of the page. And let me show you what I mean. So from the side, all right, from the side, the jawline is always going to drop a little bit more from the ears down before it goes into the chin, all right? For a female, it starts sloping already, right? See that? It just starts turning. For a man, you can see it's dropping, right? For this, it starts turning. Okay, well, something wrong with my mouse. Sorry. It starts turning because this is female. So if we compare that, all right, to Emmanuel Macron, you can see that it's turning into a C already. It's not dropping down into an L shape. It's comparable to that of the female on his right, the outgoing president of France, Le Pen, right here. See how the jawlines are similar? Because these are two females. All right. All right. Let's go further. Some other pictures. And here is a picture of Emmanuel Macron from his Instagram page. And he should never have taken this picture because I'm going to blow it up as much as I can. As you can see right there, can you see that hourglass figure from the back? Can you see that? Can you see how wide and how that figure of the hips is shaping out right there? See that? See that hourglass figure? You're following my mouse? You see that? See that hourglass figure? That's not the thighs of a man. Those are not the legs of a man. It should be straight. The Q angle shouldn't be this acute, but you can see that it's flowing, right? It's flowing. Hips, because he's got hips. Emmanuel Macron is female. That's why he has that hourglass figure right there from behind. I bet you never thought that nobody would be taking a look at this picture from behind like the way I am. So he's going to be shocked. Well, he's not going to be shocked. She's going to be shocked. Let me put it right. She is a she. All right. So let's go further. Some other pictures. Here's Emmanuel Macron with the vice chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, I believe. But what do you guys notice about this? The arms are way too short, all right? If you're a man and you did this and you cross your arms this way, it would drop below to your crotch. It wouldn't be this high. And see where how the length of the shoulders are? The length of the shoulders down here, it's way too short. It's similar to that of the female over here. The length of the arms. If I draw a line from his elbows right here across, see that? Follow me? You would see it crosses right into the other female on the right, because there are two females. If he was male, right, these shoulders would drop much more longer around here. It would be somewhere around that. See that? Okay, because this is female, right? The length of that shoulders right here, where it bends right here, see, it's right there, is comparable to that of the female here, because these are two females, all right? And even with the head comparisons, his head is actually smaller. Now, they are of the same height. This woman just has a little bit of more fat. If she was the same weight with him, you would see that the head comparisons would be the same, meaning that you're looking at two females, right? Another picture. Now, here's another picture of him sitting. As you can still see, the skew angle is still too acute. See that? The hips are still there, all right? And he's crossing those legs at his thighs, all right? Okay, some more pictures again. And here is the one that really came to my attention. Now, can you see that he's spreading? Now, here's Emmanuel Macron, because they say he supports the LGBT community. And they call this, he was coming out, all right? But as you can see right here, he has hips. Can you see that? The female indentation above the navel? And you can see the position of the navel. It's way inside the torso too much. Now, a man's belly button is going to hang lower. It's going to be hanging lower to the waist. It's going to be somewhere around where you have my mouse resting right here. This is way too high. And as you can see, he's spreading. Can you see that? And one of the tricks of the trade, people don't know this. When female to male transgenders are trying to hide their hips, what they do is put their hands inside their pocket. As you can see here with Emmanuel Macron, he's trying to hide the hips so you don't see it. So he puts his hands inside the pocket. But you can see he's still spreading. Can you see that? Hourglass figure. The navel is way too high in the belly. It's not low. And he has what I call the curves of the pecs. Now, what do I call the curves of the pecs? I'm going to pull up some more pictures so I can explain this more. So bear with me for a second. So I've pulled up some pics, so let me show you what I mean by the curves of the pecs. Now, I'm sorry if this picture is too graphic, but I just have to show you. Now, a female, no matter what a female does, no matter how much testosterone she takes, all right, and bulks up like the female that you're looking at my picture right now, females will always have what I call the curves of the pecs. The pec muscles of a female are not designed to have mass and be heavy like a man's chest, because they're designed to carry mammary glands, tissue, and breast, as you can see from this page. Can you see how flat these pec muscles are? This female is really bulked up, but can you see how the upper pec muscles are flattened out? It's the same thing that Emmanuel Macron has over here. He has a flat, underdeveloped pec muscles because it's female. Those pec muscles are not designed to be carrying, to have mass. They're designed to carry breast tissue and milk. Now, let me show you the difference between the pec muscles of a female and the pec muscles of a dude. Now, here is Dexter Jackson. He's one of my favorite bodybuilders, all right? As you can see, those upper pec muscles are very developed. Now, both of them are on testosterone, because in bodybuilding is what you have to do to have mass. And as you can see, he has very upper developed pec muscles because he's male. And this female here, with all the testosterone she's taking, the pec muscles, upper pec muscles, are not developed because it's female. Women are not designed to have that. And it's the same thing that Emmanuel Macron has over here. All right, so let me show you an example of another female. Look at this, another female right here who's still a bodybuilder. As you can see, those pec muscles, upper pec muscles, are still flat, but because the breasts are designed to have mammary tissue, right, not to be developed and massive like that of a man here in Dexter Jackson. I'll show you another female, and see that here's another female still. All right, see that the pec muscles are underdeveloped because they're designed to carry breast tissue, all right, and not be massive like a man. And this is what Emmanuel Macron has over here, underdeveloped pec muscles of a female. And look at the hourglass figure, right? Look at that hourglass figure as he's spreading, right? He's got hips, he's got curves, and he has the female indentation above the navel. That's where his waist at. And see that navel right there. It's deep inside the torso of the body. It's not low as it should be for a man, which it should be around here, because this is a female. This is no dude, all right? Some more pictures. And here's Emmanuel Macron again. As you can see, he still has that Q angle, right? And he has hips. Can you see how acute the Q angle is? Because the Q angle of a female would be much more acute than that of a male. All right? Okay. Some more pictures again. And here's Emmanuel Macron. Still the length of the arm. See how short it is? See? He has this crutch. Draw a line from that crutch down to his arms, and you can see it ends inside the palms of his wrist because he's male. And see how short the shoulders are, right? They're not broad enough. And here's him with John Kerry. If John Kerry can tell you that this man is a tranny, is a transgender, how can you be sure that John Kerry can tell you anything that's true? That's why you can have no role models in politics, in media. Once you see anybody on TV, like I usually say, you can't trust them. Because the Vatican owns all forms of media. Everything you see on TV is owned by the Vatican. In one of their 25-point plan to rule the world was to make sure that they owned all media. If you want to watch and know a lot about what I'm just talking about, you come to our channel and you look for the video called let me see again what's the name of the video. Serena Williams video on our channel. I explain about a 25-point plan in which the Vatican designed under the guise of the Illuminati, using Adam Weishaupt, who was a trained Jesuit priest, a professor of canon law in the University of Ingolstadt. He was a Jesuit. He was Vatican. They used him to infiltrate all Freemasonry so they could usurp all kings. All right, that 25-point plan, which the Adam Weishaupt told them that they would have to use to run the world again, to counter the Reformation that had happened. It made sure that they would use all media. They would have to own all media in whatever form or format, whether it be the printing press, the internet, all right, or TV, radio, whatever that's media, books, educational system, that they had to own it all if they wanted to win the Counter-Reformation and get back the Roman Catholic Empire into its former glory. All right, so that's the video that you would need to watch to see that. Okay, so let's get back to Emmanuel Macron again. Another picture of Emmanuel Macron. And what do I want you to notice here? The small neck. That neck is not wide enough. All right. Okay. There's no distinguishable also male brow ridge. All right. And this is what I'm saying. This is one of the few examples I can show you. When you look at the face from the front like this, especially if it's female, you would see that the face of Emmanuel Macron is quite oval. It's not square enough. All right. It's oval. Oval, see the way it's slanting inside. All right. It's not square enough to be a man's face. All right. Some more pictures. Here's Emmanuel Macron again with his wife Brigitte, and you can still see the Q angle. It's way too acute. That's the Q angle of a female, the way it stands. Look at the stance. And if you draw a line, that's the crutch right there, like I said, to the right or to the left, it ends inside the palms of his hand. Clear indication of a female. And look at how acute that Q angle is when he's standing. See that? That's how a female stands. That's not a man's stance at all. All right? He's been fooling. Well, I have a commentator on the channel who said that he's not surprised by all of that. He technically believes that almost everybody in France, especially France, is transgender. I don't know how true that is. If that commentator is watching this video, I would just advise him to send me a message and we can talk about this. But here is Emmanuel Macron, and as you can see, the head is the same as the head of his wife, who's actually shorter than him because she's wearing heels, because this is two females. They've been lying to you, telling you that Emmanuel Macron is male. No, he's not. He's a woman. All right? Some more pictures again. And here's Emmanuel Macron. He has an arch in his back. Can you see that? Because even through clothes, you can still see the arch in the back. The arch in the back of a female, all right? The arch is necessary for support so the child, so that the female can carry the weight of pregnancy and carry the weight of children, all right? If it's your first time on our channel, I have to show you that from a page again from this particular book, which I advise that you should download and study. Let me just scroll down into the page a bit, and here we are. And you can see a female always has an arch in the back. Here is a female and here is a male. Female always has to have an arch in the back. The arch starts below the shoulder blade to start dipping in, all right? When it gets into the navel, it starts coming out into the pelvis, all right? The female's always arch, back is always going to arch. It's going to be in the shape of a C or an S, depending on where you draw it. A man's back never arches. It's going to be straight. If a man's back is going to arch, it's going to be shaped like a D, as you can see here. It's going to arch outwards. A female's back arches inwards. A man's back arches outward like a D or a P, and then goes straight into the pelvis. It doesn't matter how the female looks, all right? She always will have an arch in her back, all right? Let me show you that from our web page again. Let me scroll down a bit. My picture is loading a little bit slowly, so give me a second. So when a female bends, all right, you're going to see that arch in the back. So a female's back is always going to bend or arch more because it's female, all right? It doesn't matter what the female looks like. If she's small or she's big, there's always going to be an arch in the female's back, all right? Here's a small lady on the right. You can still see there's an arch in that back shaped like a C or an S, depending on where you draw it. A big lady to the left, you can still see the arch in her back, all right? Doesn't matter if she's got muscles or not. Here's a muscular female. There's always going to be an arch in that back, right? Always. Muscular female, arch in the back. And that's what Emmanuel Macron here has, an arch in his back even through his suit. You can still see that arch right there. That's the arch of a female, all right? Let's go further. You can still see that arch right there. Doesn't matter what clothes you wear, male or female, we'll still see that arch. You can still see that arch in the back, all right? And look at him with Brigitte Nielsen. You can still see the hourglass figure. Can you see that? And how acute that Q angle is? See the angle here? If this was a man, it wouldn't be this acute. It would be much more straight. But he's in shorts, and you can see the Q angle right there. I wouldn't even want to talk about the knees as well. This is the knees of a female, because remember, females have more developed quadriceps muscles than their hamstrings. Why are the quadriceps muscles more developed than the hamstrings? Because there is a wide pubic arch. And because of the wide pubic arch, the Q angle is more acute. So in order to support that Q angle and the weight of the arch on the weight of the pelvis, all right, the upper muscles here are much more developed. Because the upper muscles here are much more developed than the legs, they cover the kneecap up. So you see less kneecap for a female. If it was male, you would see a lot of this kneecap. I'll show you another picture so you can clearly see that. All right. Here's Emmanuel Macron again. As you can see, the Q angle is way too acute. That's the Q angle of a woman. And see how short the torso is? I'm not saying men can have short torsos, but this is in relation to the Q angle right here. Acute Q angle. See that? See that acute Q angle? That's the Q angle of a female. All right? Right? See how short the shoulders are and how he's trying to raise his hand and how short the hands are. See how small those hands are. Those are the hands of a female. A man's hands would be larger in comparison to his face. All right? Okay. Still showing you the short arms here again. Short arms in relation to the